If you're broke, it's because your thinking is broke. What most people don't realize is that your financial success starts right here in your mind. Money isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet or a bank statement. It's about how you think. And as crazy as that might sound, your mindset about money is far more important than how much money you make. Because whether you believe you can or you believe you cannot, you are absolutely correct. So how do you see money? Whether you're using it as a tool for growth or something to be feared determines your success. Your thoughts about money, whether it's scarce or abundant, shape your decisions and ultimately your results. So your beliefs around money, whether conscious or not, directly affect your financial habits and outcomes. So here's some key points on what I feel you need to do to be able to get your mind right and be able to focus on what you're doing as an individual financially. You guys know I speak with my friends and their 20-year-old kids and all that stuff. And many of them feel like they're never going to win at the game of money, that they're feeling behind already, whether they're in their 20s or people I know that are in their 50s. And what you have to understand is the game of money is not you against everybody else. So you don't want to compare where you are financially or what you're doing financially against everybody else. You want to figure out this is a game against yourself. So what does that look like to you? Where do you want to get someday financially? And so I talk about this all the time, and I use my mom and my stepmom as examples. And of course, when they were young women, they had decided where they wanted to get financially. And again, whether you want to be able to have $5,000 a month coming in or $500,000 a month coming in, I don't care what your number is, but you're playing different games and you're trying to do different things. And my definition of what I think wealthy is that you're making enough money every month, or you have enough money coming in every month, and you don't have a job, but you're living the lifestyle you want to live. So whatever that number is for you, I've talked about it before. I always hope someday that I would make $50,000 a month without having a job, so that all my assets and everything in my portfolio would pay me that much every month, and that would allow me to live well beyond anything that I have ever wanted to do. But with that being said, my mom and my stepmom are two of the happiest and wealthiest people I know, and my mom's net worth is probably 5% of what my stepmom's net worth is. Her and my dad did much better financially. They own lots of real estate. They always invested and saved. And not that my mom didn't do those things, but she just did them on a much smaller scale. And both of them right now do not have jobs. They live the lifestyles they want to live, and they're perfectly happy with what they're doing. So just focus on what you want to do and not worry about what everybody else is doing. And this is the hard part today with social media. Anybody can make themselves look wealthier, like they have a lot of money. And unfortunately for someone like myself who sits in living rooms all the time and help people buy and sell homes, sometimes for good reasons and sometimes for bad reasons, you learn real quickly that some people that maybe look wealthy really aren't that wealthy at all. So just know, play the game for yourself and don't worry about what everybody else is doing. So another key factor in all this is that many people I know think about that if someone else is winning, that someone else has to be losing. And it's absolutely not true. I always feel like everybody can win at the game of money. And one of the key factors in doing that is, and we've talked about this again in other videos, is having a budget. And if you have a budget and you have no debt and you're living within your means and you're pulling that 20% off the top, and maybe at the beginning you can't pull 20% off the top, it has to be a smaller number. But if you start young enough and you put enough money in long enough, I promise you there will be lots and lots of money for you down the road. But again, it's setting up those goals and dreams and beliefs of what you want your financial life to look like. And just know, just because somebody else over here won doesn't mean somebody else over here has to lose. Everybody can win in their own way. It's just a matter of figuring out what it is you want your end game to be. And so again, whatever you believe, whenever you think, to me is what's going to happen. So for example, if you say things like, I'm bad with money, I'm terrible with money, I'll never make a lot of money, I'm never going to have a good job, or whatever the case may be, then that's what's going to happen to you. But if you're someone who feels like, hey, I can have financial success, I can learn more about money, I can go talk to people. You know, my whole thing was always going and looking for people who were living the life like I thought I wanted to live, and start asking them questions about what did you do to get where you are? How did you start making more money? How did you start figuring out how to invest more and own more real estate and invest in the stock market or whatever it might be, so that they could get to where their end goal was. And what's funny is most people, especially the ones that made their own money, they didn't inherit it or get lucky or win it somehow, but actually physically went ahead and made their own money. They're usually people more than willing to sit down with you and talk to you about how they did it and how you can learn about it and what things might actually help you on your journey to whatever your financial, definition of financial success is going to be. So if you're someone who's looking to figure out the best ways to build up your long-term wealth, click the link in the description below. It'll take you to our website where you can get a copy of our free budgeting tool so that you can look yourself in the mirror and start on your path to building up your definition of wealthy. All right, so now that what you believe is going to happen will happen, let's get a positive mindset on that. And what I always say is you're going to find more of what you're looking for. So let's go find those people, let's talk to those people, and let's figure out how we can start winning at the game of money. But you got to look yourself in the mirror. You got to decide for yourself, hey, whatever my current financial situation is, I can improve it, I can get better at it. And even if you go just watch the basic videos that we've done about debt reduction and how to make a budget and things that maybe seem for many people very, very simple, it's just like anything else. It's very simple if you want to lose weight. great, but it's not very simple because you have to figure out what to eat every day. And so the same thing happens with money management. If you ignore it and you're not paying attention to it and you don't think about it, you don't have to do it forever. But I would say if you pay attention for a little while and get it all organized, then it'll start to be more on autopilot, but you got to believe that you can do it. All right, so in order to grow your relationship with money, the first thing you got to do is you got to get real honest about what your current situation is. And as much as that little exercise that I'm going to have you do is going to suck, you have to do it. So with that being said, if you go watch our video about our 50, 30, 20 video about budgets, you've got to know what every dollar is coming in that you're making. You got to know what every dollar you're spending going out is, and you have to have a list of all your debts. So whether that's mortgages, credit cards, car loans, you got to know what the minimum payments are. You got to know what the interest rates are so that we can figure out where our starting point is so that we can start working on our way to fixing whatever your financial situation is. And you might not even need fixing. You might be in a great spot and you're figuring out how can I improve and buy another rental or start another business or whatever the case may be, but you just have to look yourself in the mirror and say, where am I and where do I want to go and be? So that is, basically the starting point of all of this. So this is a long-term game. You didn't get your current financial situation in the short term. You're not going to fix it overnight. And it's no different than when I talk to people. It's funny. My daughter and I have been having this conversation all the time because she's in the middle of a big weight loss exercise journey. But like I told her it didn't take you overnight to get to that top weight, and it's not going to be overnight to get to that bottom weight. And sometimes a low and slow, take your time to get there, a pound a week, whatever the case may be, is going to be better for that long-term success. Same thing happens with money. I'm not trying to say we need to get all the debts paid off overnight, and we're not trying to figure out how to have millions of dollars in the bank by tomorrow because it doesn't work that way. It is a long, slow game, but you got to get the game figured out correctly. So look in the mirror, have a conversation with yourself, and you got to get it right between your ears, because if you don't believe you can, I promise you it will never happen. And at the end of the day, it is not that difficult. Eventually on this Complete Money Playbook, we're going to create a course that if you're struggling really hard with this, we'll be able to show you how to do it so that you can get to whatever your definition of wealthy is. So if you want to learn more about how to create a budget, check out this video we did, the 50, 30, 20 video that'll explain to you my opinion on the best ways to get a budget built just for you.